Well, hello again. I am here at the Kulturhistorisk Museum at the University of Oslo with Professor Marianne Vedeler, a professor of archaeology at the University of Oslo, and we are going to be talking about some Viking-Age jewelry. Tell us what we're going to look at.
We are going to look at some really nice stuff found in Norway, dating to the 9th and 10th centuries. And I would like to show you some really nice jewelry that ordinary women used, and also some extraordinary jewelry.
Excellent.
And also, I thought maybe some jewelry for horses.
That sounds great. Well, where shall we start?
What you see here are oval brooches. This is really the most ordinary jewelry from the Viking Age. Many Scandinavian women use those brooches to hold up their clothing, a special kind of dress called the suspended dress that had straps over the shoulders. So these brooches hold together the dress and the straps. Mm-hmm. Well, you have to be fairly rich to have those brooches, but not at the highest level of society. And as you can see here, there are many different kinds. We have more than 3,000 of these brooches found in women's graves only in Norway, but they appear all over Scandinavia in the 9th and 10th centuries. And at first they start as rather small and simple brooches, and then in the 10th century in Norway they are very elaborate, as you can see, almost vulgar with
these projections.
Yeah, and what's really typical with them is they have these animals. This is an animal style developing from the Iron Age in Scandinavia and into these kind of animals that are dispatched in a way. So you see their bodies, you have to look really close into them to see where are the heads, where are the thighs, where are the legs. And all these things build up a sort of pattern that develops over time into different styles. And I will show you some of these styles later.
So is there a chronological progression?
Yes,
here?
yes. So you see these are the styles are much older than those in the middle there. As you can see, the knots on top. Some of them have animal heads, mm-hmm. and look like beaks and heads of different kinds of birds and mm-hmm. other animals. So these are the youngest ones, and they are rather large, so you can imagine them on a dress here.
Mm-hmm. Ostentatious.
Yeah.
Very, very showy.
Yeah.
Is the material bronze and gilded bronze?
Yes, and they appear in different kinds of material. Most of them are in either copper alloy or could be gilded or not gilded, double shaped or single. They come in all kinds of shapes, actually, or all of them are oval. That's why they are called oval brooches, but they are very different. But when they start to make these brooches, they start making them very carefully. They are very carefully made, but over the years they are more and more developing into industrial or many mass-produced stuff. Yeah. So this is a really nice kind of jewelry, but special Scandinavian type, so to speak.
What does a brooch like this weigh?
Ooh.
It strikes me as a heavy thing to wear right here.
Well, it's they are not as heavy as the older ones, because in the period before these came, you had really, really heavy, big ones, like 30 centimeters long. So these are not that heavy. This is a hoard from a place called Theisen here in Oslo. And as you see, there are jewelry, but there are also coins and different kinds of hack silver. And why I wanted to show you this is because in the Viking Age, jewelry can also be money, because silver is the currency in Scandinavia at this time. So you can have like this an arm ring and cut it up and pay with it.
Because the weight of the metal constitutes currency.
Yes, that's right. So that's why you can see lots of scrap material there from different kinds of jewelry and also coins. And this is payment, this is currency in the Viking Age. So silver, jewelry made of silver, is really the most common in this period. But sometimes we also find gold. And now I'd like to show you a really, really nice hoard with a lot of gold. This is also a hoard, but this one contains more than 2.5 kilos of gold. And that's the most gold in any hoard found in Norway from this period. And as you can see, it's a lot of different kinds of jewelry in here. It's heavy rings, neck rings, and arm rings, and pendants, and different kinds of stuff. And these have been made in a lot of different areas. They are Byzantine, they are Arabic, they are from the British Isles, they are Frankish, and shows what kind of influences came into Scandinavia at this time. And if you look carefully at those pendants there, you can see that some of them have originally been coins, and some of them have Arabic inscriptions on them, and that's very typical of this period, because a lot of Arabic coins came into Scandinavia and Norway in the 9th century. This sword is from the 9th century. So they were remade into jewelry and worn around the neck and different shapes on the dress. And you also see pearls there. A lot of pearls came in from different areas. Some of these are from the area around the Mediterranean. So all these things were put together and made into a Scandinavian style, so to speak, coming from outside. But this is only a small part of the hoard. So I want to show you some more over here, because this is,
It strikes me as a society where currency and ornament are the same thing. I mean, we spend currency to get ornament, but they actually use their currency as the ornament.
Yeah.
Right?
And you could carry it around like a bank box. And that's also practical, of course, in that kind of society. And they also used old jewelry, because if you look carefully on some of these pendants here, like the one with the red stone, can you see it? This is originally a Roman stone or Roman jewelry.
Western Roman Empire or Eastern?
Yeah, from the Roman Empire, yeah. And it was remade into a Frankish sort of pendant. And then when it came to Scandinavia, they put on a ring on the backside and used it together with a lot of other jewelry stuff. So this has a very, very long history. So that's interesting that they used also old stuff. Yeah.
Well, you can't afford to throw something like that out.
No, that's true. But this is really, really special because can you imagine what that have been used for originally?
Also a brooch?
It's part of a sword belt, actually. Yeah, and it's very typical of the Frankish court in the 9th century. And that's really interesting.
This decorated scabbard style.
Yes, yes. So it's from a scabbard, yeah. And in a very typical Frankish style. Gold with sort of decoration in other materials, but as you can see, it has a style that is composed of plant ornaments, very different from the style that I showed you earlier with all the animals. Here you have a lot of plants, and it's trefoil shaped, and that is also interesting, as we can talk more about later. But this special type here was used by the Frankish court in the 9th century, and why it came to Norway, I don't know, but it's rather special. And it also must have been, the style of these brooches must have been very attractive for the Scandinavian silversmiths, because they used the form to develop their own kind of jewelry later. So when this came to Scandinavia, they remade it into a brooch by putting on a pin on the backside.
So it was used as a brooch. It just
yeah,
was
later. Yes.
What part of the scabbard is it? Was leather attached to this?
Yes, I think it's what's the name in English? You know, the thing that you have over here, sword belt, or
sure. I think an old word for that is baldric or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. So it was attached to that. But later, when it came to Norway, it was remade into a brooch. Really stylish, large brooch. Must have been very luxurious at that time. But if you now we are going to look at some brooches that were probably designed in a way that looks a little bit like the trefoil brooch that you saw there. And these are, on the other hand, very typically Scandinavian, because here you can see again the animal style, but this is a little bit different from what you saw on the oval brooches, because here you can see masks and mythical animals, and they are crunched together, so you have to look really close into them to see where the animals are. But if you see them from afar, they look almost you can't see the animals when you look from afar. You have to go really close into them. And here you can also see that they develop and have different kind of styles within the group. And these brooches were used for shawls maybe, and in another way that the oval brooches that I was telling you about.
Is there a chronological progression here? Which?
Not really. All these are from the 10th century.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are just different.
And the material looks like some bronze, some silver, is that right?
Yes, and some of them are gilded, some of them not.
I see what you mean about how the design can look more abstract from a distance, and as you look closer you perceive the details of animals, for example, in this one closest to you and me.
Yeah. And one can wonder if the animals actually mean something, like they are mythical creatures, could be protective or mean other things that we don't know anymore.
Or just be a design that appealed to someone.
Maybe.
I think about that sometimes, about how often the things that today people might perceive as symbolic that we wear might not necessarily be symbolic because someone said, I like that.
Yes.
I wear this not because I love snakes, but just because I thought it was cool. Right?
Could be.
I've wondered about that. Clearly some symbolic value, I would think, and I'm curious about your take on this. You would think there would be some symbolic value to something that is so expensive and resource consuming to make.
Yeah, and also that the animal style is developing in a way that it does with different kinds of animals, but still they hold on to animals as the fundamental pattern long into the medieval period. So I think that's interesting as well.
It's very persistent.
It is.
With several different styles, or sub-styles that it goes through.
Yeah. This is a bridle. And as we were talking about, the horses were really important for Scandinavian in the Viking-Age. And they also equipped their horses with jewelry. And this is a really, really nice example. It's gilded and made also with another animal style. This is called Borre style. And actually this bridle is from Borre. So this is what originally that's where the style get its name from this bridle. And if you look close into it, you can see masks and you can see mythical animals, and also they are crunched together. So, but this is another style than the one we were looking on earlier.
The animal heads are noticeably different.
Yes. And also masks. So
in these small cartouches.
Yeah, so you have to get really close up to them to see. But you can maybe the spur there is the same style, so you might see it better there. This is fantastic, I think. This is a spur from. Also from Eastern Norway, but it's made in pure gold and very, very rare. And I don't know why they made this spur in pure gold, because gold is very soft. So it must be have been very unpractical.
Sure. I was just thinking that myself. It has to be just for show.
Yeah, it has to be just for show. But it's really a really nice craftsmanship. Probably made somewhere in Scandinavia, also in the same Borre style as I showed you earlier. So this is a really, really nice piece, I think.
Oh, the filigreeing is so elaborate.
Yes.
And had small inset stones it looks like?
No,
Or is that small?
I don't think so. It's
there's just holes.
maybe I see what you.
Oh, there's just
are
holes?
looking at. Yeah, there are holes. But it might have been something in there. I don't know.
This took someone a long time to make.
Yes.
This is my first thought about it too.
And it's also very precise. The craftsmanship is very, very precise. So it's well developed, really nice. This is from the 10th century. So you can see a little bit different. It's a little bit different from the 9th century stuff that we saw earlier.
Right.
Maybe you can call the swords of the Viking Age in some way the male jewelry.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. So we have a lot of swords from the Viking Age, and some of them are really, really nicely decorated. And they also have a lot of connotations, of course, because if, as you know a lot about probably, we have a lot of stories about swords in the sagas and in the poems, later written down poems from the 13th century mostly. And there you can see that the sword has some connotations to dwarfs, for example, making swords and also putting magical or magic into them, and also that the swords have their own names.
Tyrfinger, for example.
Yeah, yeah. And for example, the history about Sigurd, the dragon slayer. He had a sword called Gram. These are just examples of swords that have been found in graves here in southern Norway. So we have a lot more.
Now this one with the Ulfberht marking, the hilt has some pretty elaborate decoration on it.
Yeah.
Is that silver that has been inlaid?
Yes, that's silver. But I also want to show you some later jewelry.
Sure.
When the Christianity came to Norway, sometime in the late 10th century, something like that, we could see a development in styles, of course, and going from pendants made like Thor's hammers and into crosses. And actually it's not that much difference.
No.
And you can also see that some of these pendants are you can't tell if they are crosses or Thor's hammers.
There's some potentially deliberate ambiguity, especially these with the hole in the middle.
Yes.
I don't know if I could tell you what that's supposed to be.
No. So that's really interesting, I think, because it tells a lot about a person's ideology and beliefs, what you wear around your neck. And in a time of transition, you get these betwixt and between things.
Sure.
That are quite interesting, I think. What is the difference in protection, you think, between Thor's hammer and a cross?
Well, I would think they have the same purpose almost for the person wearing them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Invoke something powerful against something evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what are the contexts of most of these finds? Are these also mostly grave finds?
Yes, these are also grave finds. And that's interesting too, because what you choose to put around the neck on your loved one also makes a difference, of course. And this again is a time of transition, and sometimes you can see a mix of the heathen and the Christian in the same grave, sometimes even in the same item. As we have a sword over there, it's really interesting in that case. And if you look, it's really nice with the silver inlay and different kinds of patterns. But this have been found in 11th century or no, late 10th century grave, called Langeid, in a place called Langeid. And as you can see, it's from a heathen grave, as they have put into it a sword, and it's also a mound built over the grave. But if you look at the top there, you can see a cross.
Very small.
A very small cross. And on the other side, we have a hand coming down. You can see the hand of God coming down from the top there.
Yeah.
So this is a really nice example of this combination of heathen and Christian symbols in the same grave and in the same item.
Well, I think, and I'd be interested in your take on this, that modern people often assume that there was a bigger gulf between the culture before the conversion and the culture after.
Yeah.
But I think of it as much the same culture that's just sort of switched who is being invoked against evil.
Yeah, yeah. And it also, I think it developed slowly, not from one day to the next.
Sure.
Takes a lot of time, of course.
Right, you don't go to bed a pagan and wake up a Christian.
No.
Not in the way you think.
No.
Certainly. Yeah.
No. So I think this is a nice example of that.
It's an amazing item.
It is.
I mean, partially just the way that the grip is so elaborately stippled, I suppose. That's a showy sword.
Yes. Would you like to try it?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. You would? Yeah. I think it's very tiny. It has a very tiny grip. What do you think?
It does, actually. But I think that about a lot of these swords. I mean, don't they all have kind of small? It looks
Many
like.
of them.
Is your hand supposed to go back on that palm?
I don't know. That must be very unpractical.
It strikes me that it would be.
Yeah.
I'm not a medieval sword fighter.
No, not me either.
Yeah. So, but it is strange to me how all of, I mean, not every single one in here, but so many of these swords that I've seen that do seem to be such short hilts. Well, try sword fighting sometime and we'll see what we think. Well, Professor Vedeler, thank you very much for your time, for the information, and from beautiful Oslo, wish you all the best.
All the best to you too.